Good evening and welcome to tonight's bulletin. I do hope you had a fantastic Thursday from wherever you are watching. My name is Sami Adika. Remember to interact with us through our socials at EBN TV and at Sami Adika. Now, starting us off tonight, President William Ruto has urged the newly appointed ambassadors, high commissioners and heads of mission to step up and represent Kenya abroad amid cuts on foreign travels by the government. During a meeting with the newly appointees at State House, Nairobi, President Ruto asked them to proactively protect and advance the interest of Kenyans in the countries of designation. Let's listen in.
I expect no less from you to push for the interest of Kenyans, Kenyan companies, Kenyan businesses, Kenyan entrepreneurs, to make sure that it is your responsibility to be available, to support Kenyans wherever you will be, to support their pursuits, their interests, and to protect them. It is our responsibility as government. It will be your responsibility as ambassador to make sure that you look after Kenyans in the countries that you will be working from, and to make sure that we secure the global national interest of Kenya. To step into the arena of diplomacy at a critical moment in the history of multilateralism. There are many issues, bilateral issues, multilateral issues, issues that are cut across many sectors. And it is my expectation and that of the government of Kenya and people of Kenya that you will represent, you will articulate, you will canvass, and you will work on all issues securing the interest of the Republic of Kenya, cultivating relations with different actors, different countries, in different sectors, that foster the interest of the Republic of Kenya in a accountable manner. In fact, you will find that in many cases, you will represent the country. In many cases, it will not be necessary for us to send ministers unless it is absolutely necessary, or other public officials unless it is absolutely necessary. You will have to stand in. You have the requisite capacity to represent the country in any forum.
Well, away from that, on our special report, have you ever thought of working or living beyond Kenya's borders? Before you do that, you have to consider more than just the price of food or fuel. We focus on Uganda, one of the East Africa's country that is easily accessible to majority of locals in Kenya. Our reporter Cynthia Nanjala takes us on a trip to Kampala, the Pearl of Africa, as she reports on the economic similarities and differences between Kenya and Uganda.
You walk across the streets of Kenya, you would hear the common phrase of life is too expensive. Majority of them wish that they could move across the country's borders, looking for greener pastures to fend for their families and for their needs. But is grass greener economically across the neighboring countries, as many may seem to think? We decided to visit one of Kenya's East African neighbors, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Home to thousands of Kenyans and other citizens, it has been described as a country that flows with milk and honey. The landlocked country is a favorite destination and residence to many business people due to affordable prices of goods and a flexible economic environment. The temptation might be high for Kenyans to move to the country, as Kenya is currently grappling with a depressed economy, leading to a high cost of living. But first, you need to understand Uganda's currency. Banknotes in circulation include 50,000 notes, which is the highest denomination, 20,000 notes, 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, and 1,000. One Kenyan shilling trades at 24.93 Ugandan shillings, which means Kenya's highest denomination of 1,000 shillings is equivalent to 24,930 Ugandan shillings, while Uganda's highest denomination of 50,000 is equivalent to 2,000 Kenyan shillings. Economists have alluded to the fact that Uganda has more money in circulation compared to Kenya, as Uganda recorded a 7.1% increase in 2023, as announced by the Bank of Uganda. The cost of fuel has been on the rise in Kenya, the highest within East African region. And in the monthly review for November, which is regulated by the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority, diesel retailed at 203.47 shillings, petrol at 217.36 shillings, and kerosene at 203.06 shillings in the capital. In Uganda, for the month of November, a litre of petrol retailed at an average 5,400 Ugandan shillings, which is equivalent to 216.60 shillings, while diesel retails at 5,200 Ugandan shillings, equivalent to 208.58 shillings, while kerosene is not listed. President Yoweri Museveni recently banned the import of fuel from Kenya to Uganda, saying middlemen inflate prices by 59.9%, inflicting avoidable pain on consumers. In the new fuel purchase arrangement, the Uganda National Oil Company will be buying the country's entire fuel stock from Vitol Bahrain before distributing it to oil marketing companies in Uganda. So I've been able to do that comparison between Kenya and Uganda just to understand, is Kenyan life so expensive, or is life expensive everywhere, or is Ugandan life expensive? So there's some few things we'll be able to consider. The cost of fuel has a ripple effect on food prices. Even though the cost of a 2-kilogram packet of maize flour is now lesser compared to earlier this year at an average 135 shillings, in Uganda it costs an average of 6,500, which is equivalent to 260 Kenyan shillings. In Kenya, 1 kilogram of sugar retails at 210 shillings, while in Uganda it's at 5,900, equivalent to 236 Kenyan shillings. A litre of cooking oil in Kenya is at 358 shillings in supermarkets, while in Uganda it's at 10,200 Ugandan shillings for the same brand. A 500 grams loaf of bread in Kenya costs an average 60 shillings, while in Uganda it costs 3,200, equivalent to 128 Kenyan shillings. Finally, the cost of 500 milliliter of a packet of milk retails at an average 55 Kenyan shillings, while it costs 1,000 in Uganda shillings, equivalent to 40 Kenyan shillings. In total, if you purchase these products, you'd pay at the counter 818 shillings for the Kenyan basket, while the Ugandan basket, one would cost 26,800 Ugandan shillings, equivalent to 1,075 Kenyan shillings, a difference of 257 bob. According to economic experts, aside from food prices and fuel prices, there are many items economists use to establish the differences in cost of living, including the gross national product per capita in a country divided by the country's population. In addition, comparisons for the minimum wage, the level of unemployment, inflation, among others. The gross national product measures a country's economic output, including the value of all products and services produced by the citizens of a country, both domestically and internationally, minus income earned by foreign residents. According to data published by the World Bank as of 2021, Uganda's gross national product (GNP) was at $97.96 billion, while Kenya's rate stood at $272.1 billion, the highest within East Africa. This means Kenya's economic output was at a higher percentage. On minimum wage bill, the minimum amount of salary expected to be remunerated to an employee stood at 130,000 in Uganda, equivalent to 5,214 Kenyan shillings, while in Kenya, the figure is at 15,120. Kenya's level of unemployment is higher as of 2022 at 5.50%, while in Uganda, it's at 4.2%. The general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money, in other words, inflation, as of November 2023, in Uganda, the rate of inflation stood at 2.60%, while Kenya recorded 6.7%. In general, inflation tends to devalue a currency, since inflation can be equated with a decrease in a currency's buying power. As a result, countries experiencing high inflation tend to also see their currencies weaken relative to other currencies. Kenya is ranked at 162nd in the list of most expensive countries to live in across the world, while Uganda is marked at 143rd. So, do you still wish to relocate? You may have to consider more than just the cost of fuel. Cynthia Nanjala, EBN TV.
Well, many thanks, Cynthia Nanjala, for that specific report. Now, it only seems that milk is the only thing that is cheaper in Uganda than Kenya as compared to other commodities. Now, shifting gears from that, the Ministry of Education has defended the 2023 KCPE results, saying they registered a 99.3% success rate. The Kenya National Examination Council CEO has noted that they have resolved over 700 complaints raised out of the 1,043. Speaking before the Education Committee, Basic Education PS Dr. Belia Kipsang and the NEC CEO Dr. David Jengere denied allegations that they released the results, noting that it was to ensure parents adequately prepare for high school as early as possible.
An act as enacted by this House, which emphasizes on the privacy of personal information. So because of that, that's why we gave you the information without specifically indicating the names. The other question from my brother, I will, PS, you can answer. It was on. Yeah, CEO. From Gitonga.
How much money do you raise on that?
Yes. Can you?
Chair, for the service provider, which is at this time, what we shall do is that the compilation of data of the amounts is done by the telecos. So what we shall do is to write to the telecos to give us what has been run up to this date. If we can give a cut-off date of today, then we shall request the telecos to give us, because those are the people who have the statistics, then we shall be able to share with the House.
So you will give all that information,
yes,
with all that we had requested that you will supply?
Yes.
In the next 7 days, is it?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
And finally, Chair, there was a question on placement.
Yes.
I want to assure the Honourable Chair and the members and the Honourable Member that we are actually working expeditiously such that any issue, any such complaint which comes to Kenya National Examination Council, the chairman and the members are here. We insist that it must be done within a period of maximum 2 days, so that the exact mark is known if there was any such problem as such, and we give the result back to whoever raised the complaint. So we want to assure all that nobody will be left out of the placement that is ongoing, and that we are having 100% transition And of course, even the few cases which NEC is still to deal with, these are cases which might have come yesterday, the day before, and by tomorrow or the day after, we will be able to get the result, because we get all this information on any nature of complaint that has come. So we assure each and everyone that all will be placed in Form 1 and nobody is going to miss out.
Well, the Senate has been adjourned until February 13th, 2024, as senators break for festive season. While attending today's sitting, the senators recounted this year's sessions and some of the major remarks on the issues presented before them. Our reporter Masin Zilu tells us how the last sitting this year went down.
There are two members there.
Having not achieved the quorum pursuant to Standing Order 34.
Barely 3 months after the Senate resumed from the September recess, the House was adjourned Thursday afternoon for another long recess to allow the members to enjoy the year festive season.
Madam Speaker, I'm extremely happy that as the session wore on, the two sides of
Nominated Senator Gloria Oramba recounted her efforts to end period shaming among young girls across the country, and also called on men to join hands in bringing to an end gender violence that has deprived girls equal education opportunities as compared to boys.
Reports that the bill on free sanitary pads is in motion and is set to come in the next session for the first reading. Madam Speaker, it's out for public participation. Madam Speaker, I want to say that I have been very excited and I continue to be excited to serve my party in this capacity. And Madam Speaker, as we conclude this year,
Busia Senator Okiya Mtata also thanked the House for its collaboration to ensure that critical matters affecting the country were properly addressed. His Kakamega counterpart Boni Kalalwe praising the Kenya Kwanza government for ensuring that the sugar sector is revived as pushed by majority leaders from the Western region.
I thank you to everybody whom I've met in this House, from the members to the supports.
We are very happy as the farmers of Kakamega, Western Province, and Western Kenya in the steps that the government is taking in stabilizing the sugar.
On education matters, Nandi Senator Samson Cheragai called on TSC to ensure intern teachers whose contract will be expiring at the end of this month are absorbed on permanent and pensionable terms to avoid crisis in January next year.
TSC to quickly confirm the GSS interns who are on contracts, Madam Speaker, because on 31st their contracts are expiring, so that they can be transited to, there are more than 46,000, Madam Speaker, they can be transited to permanent and pensionable and be able to have certain, because most of these are young people. Madam Speaker, even as we are to Form 1 selection, I want to ask the ministry through NEMIS to ensure that Form 1 selection, each and every child deserves to join Form 1 as we go into the new year. I know KCP has had its...
On the other side, nominated Senator Karen Nyamu called on Kenyans to exercise patience even as the government works around the clock to ensure the economy is stabilized.
Hang in there, because the things that the plans the government is making are going to bear fruits in the long run, and we are going to be happy as Kenyans. And I believe when it is time for re-election for our president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, it will be an exciting time for Kenyans to look forward to give him another term because of the...
Reporting for EBN TV, I'm Masin Zilu.
Now crossing to Mombasa County, the registration exercise for new ODM party members in Mombasa County has kicked off, with ODM party leader Raila Odinga expected to officially launch the exercise this December through the chairman of ODM Mombasa branch, Mohammed. The exercise is meant to give the new party, or rather the party, new strength despite the loss of popularity in the coastal region, noting that they will restore the party's position through new membership registration.
Tunataka kufanya chama chetu kiwe stronger than it has been, kwa sababu chama cha ODM ndicho chama kinawika na ndicho chama kitaendelea kuwika katika hii Kenya yetu. Hapa Pwani chama cha ODM ndicho chama kipenzi cha watu wote, na tuna imani kwamba tukiendelea kurejesta wale ambao katika vyama vingine tutaendelea kuwika kama ODM.
Tumeona kiongozi wetu wa chama Bwana Raila Amolo Odinga ameanza kuizindua ndani ya Nyanza na last week akiwa Kakamega. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia baada ya msimu mrefu, Mungu akituweka hai na uzima wa holiday, nasi pia kama Mombasa County na chama cha ODM, chama chenye MCA wengi, waheshimiwa wengi na bunge hili, tutamwalika kiongozi wetu wa chama kuja kuzindua rasmi exercise hii ya registration.
Popular na si vile watu wanavodanganyana ati kwenda kutoa chakula ya pesa ndogo wakaona ati watauza hiyo chama nyingine. Hiyo ni urongo. Hiyo ni wanajidanganya tu. Hao watu wengine hata usema wakaulizana wasema kwa watu wamerogwa nini na Raila. Si kurogwa, ni mahaba vile watu wako nayo. Na hatutaki sisi pia tuwe ni watu wa kuwaudhi watu. Tunataka sisi pia tuwe inclusivity, watu wote tuwalete pamoja.
Well, now Siaya Local Authority Retirees Association has threatened to hold demonstrations over 72 million Kenya shillings salary arrears. Over 600 retirees who worked with the defunct local authority in Siaya County have faulted Governor James Orengo's government for failing to remit their salaries.
We are here for our pending salary arrears, totaling to 72,955,000. Up to this moment, we have not been paid, and this amount includes court award of 10 employees of former local authority workers. And we have already written to our Honorable Governor demanding for these payments. And up to this moment, we have not received any reply from him. Therefore, we are giving ultimatums. We are giving 5 days from today. If that cannot be paid, the 72,000, we are going to do something to do with demonstration. And our retirees who are sickling will be here in front of the office of the governor.
By the name, I'm called Benedict Omondi Oguro, popularly known as Oguro. I was an employee of the local authority, Kuala Town Council. I was dismissed from employment 2003, but then reinstated 2010 when we won industrial petition. The industrial court awarded us 18 million. By then, we were still under town council. In 2013, the county government came in. The government formed the transitional authority. Through that transitional authority, they approved our industrial court award. But to my surprise, both the first government of Rasanga and this government of Orengo has refused to pay us. Some of us have died. Somebody like Osgei died 2 or 3 years ago. Some of us are sickling. I'm wondering when are we going to be paid? Now, as my colleague has said, we are giving the Orengo government 5 days. Failure to do so, we are going to camp at the government office. The elderly, the sick, the children, the orphans, we are going to camp in that office until Orengo will pay us. It is our right. We are not asking for a privilege. It is our right. Let Orengo pay us.
Well, now on matters security, leaders from West Pokot County have expressed their displeasure over the continued attacks and killings witnessed in the county. The leaders, or rather the county leaders, have pointed an accusing finger at the government of a failure to undertake its mandate and protect Kenyans amid constant attacks. According to the leaders, more than 50 people have so far been killed in West Pokot County alone since the year began, with most affected areas being Takwel and Chesogon.
umeshindwa hata kujieleza. Hiyo attack wakati ilifanyika, watu wetu kujaribu kurespond ndawa KDF. It's like Turkana bandits wako cooperate na KDF ambao wako Kaino. Wakati attack inafanyika, tukijaribu kurespond ndao KDF wanatuambush pia. Sasa siku hizi ni Turkana wanakuja wana raid, hakuna mtu anaofuata nyuma kwa sababu tunajua wako na support ya serikali. Saizi hivi tunalia hapa Kapenguri hospitali. Tunalia, tumebaki kama mayatima. Waume wa Pokot wameisha. Wamama wamebaki, watoto wamebaki. Tunauliwa hata vijana wadogo, bora ni mfulana hata wa mwaka 3. Mulisikia juzi kijana mtoto mfulana mdogo wa 3 years akauliwa. Serikali mimi nawaomba sana. Mheshimiwa Duale, kuna KDF wako Lawyer Path station inaitwa Lawyer Path. Ninakuomba utoke Nairobi kuja kwa hiyo station maana unasimamia mambo ya defense.
Now, human rights groups charged with the rights of children at the coastal province have appealed to the judiciary to introduce mobile courts in the far-flung parts of the coastal region to help deal with rising cases of sexual and gender-based violence. Led by Hakiet organization, the lobby group, which raised concerns with the poor situation of access to justice, say the mobile courts will bridge the gap for people traveling a long distance to access justice, a basic human right provided in the Constitution. Let's listen in.
Na ukiangalia ripoti hii ili utoke Bamba Town mpaka Kilifi Locots ambao ni mahakama kuu ya kusikiza shida za watu wa Bamba, wakazi wa pale wanatumia wanaenda mwendo wa kilomita 80. Huyo ni mtoto ambaye ametoka Bamba Police Station. Ile kijiji mbali sana na Bamba Police Station inakuwa kilomita 99. Kwa hivyo huyo mtoto akitoka nyumbani aende Bamba Police Station aweze kwenda kituo cha afya apate kusaidiwa kama kilomita 20, aweze kwenda mahakama anaenda zaidi karibu ya kilomita 200. Kiangalia statistics at the national level ni kwamba county ya Kilifi na Kwale bado inawekwa pale juu. Area zingine kama Nyango bado kesi ziko juu, kama watoto 100 wako na mimba za mapema wametoka shule. Kwa hivyo hii report inaweza kuangazia zaidi eneo na zile statistics ambazo ziko na ni vipi kila mhusika anaweza kujukumika.
Kwanza kesi za kijinsia ambazo zinaendana katika jamii yetu ni nyingi. Mimi kama mtu mwenye anasikiza kesi pale Kwale Locots, kesi hizo ndo zenye tunasikiza zaidi. Kama nilivyosema awali, kesi za aina hiyo kwa sasa kulingana na data yetu kutokea mwaka wa 2016 mpaka saizi tuko na kesi 600 na. Kwa hivyo hizo ndo kesi zenye tunasikiza kila siku. Watu ambao wanakuja mbele yetu mara nyingi ukiangalia ni kesi za kunajisiwa kwa watoto. Wakiwa ni watoto wadogo mpaka mtoto wa labda mwaka 1 hivi na nusu, inaenda zaidi mpaka kwa watoto labda ambao wako na miaka 17. Na pia tuko na kesi za aina hiyo bado zikiwa pia ni za watu wazima, na kesi hizo pia si za watoto labda wa kike peke yake, lakini pia ni kesi ambazo ziko pia na watoto wa kiume. Kwa watu wamelia sana kuwa wakasema labda waletewe koti karibu. Badala ya kuja kotini pale Kwale Locots, kukuwe na koti ambayo iko katika Kinango area ambaye labda inaweza kasaidia. Koti hiyo ikiwa hiyo mobile court ambayo itakuwa imeletwa itakuwa rahisi ya kuwa sisi tunawapelekea haki karibu wale watu. Na nikiangalia vizuri naona kama ni kitu ambacho kitakuwa kimesaidia zaidi kwa wakati huu.
Well, that right there marks the end of EBN Prime Edition tonight. Many thanks for tuning in. Once again, my name is Sammy Adika. Do have a wonderful night. And remember to join Cynthia Nanjala tomorrow morning on EBN Prime, or rather EBN Morning Live.